Hello, everybody. Hi, I'm Jamie Dawn, your evolutionary, revolutionary astrologer, and I am bringing you your celestial wisdom for the week of December 10th through the 17th. And yeah, I kind of opened it up that way. In the beginning, we all are, a little bit of Mercury retrograde shadow. It hasn't gone retrograde just yet. That happens this coming week. We'll talk about that. We also have a Sagittarius new moon. And I just want to address some energy that's happening for most of us probably at this time. Many of us are probably feeling exhausted. It's been a long year. It's been a hard year for so many. And, we keep finding ways to still find hope and faith and working towards something better. And I just want to remind us that even though there is pain, that's part of the human experience, there's also pleasure. They live on that same axis. And so if we can not necessarily run towards the pain, but to stay open when it shows up, it helps to prevent that feeling of burnout, exhaustion, overwhelm, because we recognize and we understand that it is part of the cycle. It's part of the process. That's why you hear that phrase a lot. Trust the process, meaning trust that as you move through this pain and process it, that on the other side is the pleasure. And the same thing with pleasure. That doesn't mean that we don't commit, and it doesn't mean we don't allow ourselves to go deep with a situation or an individual, because we know that on the other side of it, it's going to end one day, whether it's through natural reasons or it's by choice, whatever. We practice impermanence all the time. Every time we take a breath, we die a little death. And those who meditate and those who do breath work understand that. It's to give us practice, not that we say, I don't care, I'm not attached, all that, but so that we can welcome whatever shows up at any moment and stay awake, stay aware, stay conscious with how we respond to it. Yeah. So I just want to put out there that even though we have a new moon in Sagittarius, which is usually positive and hopeful, and all the Sagittarian things, adventure, broaden our horizons, our minds, it's sitting next to Mars. It's going to be canoodling with Mars. And so Mars is our great separator. It's also the planet of war and aggression. It also is the planet of motivation, what gets us going, But because it is a planet of separating, it can create a little pain. Oftentimes, you think of the sword being a double-edged sword or the sword of truth. Well, truth cuts, right? It cuts through the BS and it says, this is what's true right now. And it's not always comfortable. Sometimes it is, but sometimes it's not. So we're going to have a mixed bag as this new moon it presents itself. But there is some good things that are coming as well. So I'm setting the stage for what is happening between now and the end of the year. It's a roller coaster ride. So as we go up the hills, it's going to feel like we've done this before. It's a rinse and repeat. It's a struggle, whatever. And then we come down the other side and it's a, whee, took my breath away. Oh my God, I get the butterflies. I love roller coaster rides. So forgive me if you don't. Maybe it's not an analogy that you want to use, but I love them. The ones that challenge me are the corkscrews and the twists and turns, simply because I suffer from motion sickness and it jolts me around. And that's kind of what the next couple of weeks are going to feel like. Everything's going to be a wee and then a jolt and then a wee and then a jolt. And so we're going to have to adjust. And so what I'm going to offer to us is that when we're in a situation, when we're faced with something that shows up, if we can stay open and soft and flexible and humorous, that's going to benefit us. Yeah, let's laugh at being so human. We're going to make mistakes. We're going to say stupid shit. We're going to do something stupid. You know what? You learn from it, right? So Tuesday, December 12th is 1-2 day at 1-2 Listen, by the way, for those of you who find me over there and other wonderful advisors. And it is the new moon in Sagittarius. As I mentioned, it's canoodling with Mars. So these are the kind of, we use a new moon every month to set seeds of intention. And at the full moon, we release. Now, the full moon is the opposite moon of Sagittarius, which is Gemini. So we're looking 6 months ahead. So we're planting seeds for the next 6 months of what we want to energize, where we can be optimistic about the future. We want to open our hearts and our minds to a broader view, maybe have some other experiences, because experience is our greatest teacher. And we don't want to just live in a bubble. It really limits us and it doesn't allow us to be of service. Now, we can find comfort here because we're dealing with the moon. When we explore other possibilities, being more positive, we might feel as though there's a little hope returning. I understand there's skeptics out there and caution about, this has just been a hard year. The minute I have hope, it gets yanked out from under me. Well, this is where our perspective can help. And if we can turn our perspective towards the positive, the gratitude, the things that are working, then we can face those more difficult times. It's a time to find more joy, more inspiration. And also, we're going to be looking for truth. I would say, Sagittarius is a truth seeker. It wants to understand the meaning behind things, right? Why are we doing this? Explain this to me. It's very similar to Scorpio, but the difference with Scorpio energy is Scorpio is going into the muck and mire. It's going into the shadow. It's going into all the crevices and the unknown, if you were, where Sagittarius is staying open to everything. And it's saying, okay, I'll take that adventure on, but tell me why. Why am I on this mission right now? Why is that important? So that's what we're going to be looking for. Then Wednesday, December 13th, right after the new moon, we have Mercury going retrograde. Now, it is retrograding in Capricorn at 8 degrees. So mark that point, but also mark the point back on November 25th, a couple of weeks ago, when Mercury was in Sagittarius. Because what Mercury is going to do is it's going to dance. It's now going to appear to move backwards in Capricorn through the last degrees of Sagittarius, where it was on November 25th. So whatever theme may have shown up then that was unresolved, that needed to be worked out, that sort of thing, is going to be revisited during this Mercury retrograde. And so Mercury is going to retrograde from the 13th of December all the way to January 1st, which is leading us into a new moon, by the way, in January 21st. And full moon, but I'll get to that. So, no, I'm right. Forgive me. It's the Mercury. I'm going to blame Mercury now. That's the gift. It is a new moon. So all that to say, as Mercury retrogrades back here, it also is making a trine with Jupiter for the next few days. So there could be this wonderful experience for all of us to open our minds even more. We're looking for hope. We're looking for security and stability. But with Mercury in Capricorn and retrograding, we might get a little more serious. So there's a mixed bag of hope and seriousness, but we want to have some fun, right? And think about this. Jupiter is our planet of inspiration. It's our planet of expansion. It's also the planet associated with belief systems, with religion, right? And this is the thing about the belief systems. What we believe, we see. If I believe the world is against me, I'm going to see people always against me or things happening against me. If I believe that the universe is on my side and has my back, then I'm going to be able to take whatever shows up with a hope and a faith that I'm still supported, I'm still protected. Now, this also can expand our exhaustion levels, especially during the holidays. And it doesn't help us have fun if we don't feel stable and secure, especially because we're dealing with earth signs here. So it's our physical world, it's our income, it's our health, it's the food we eat, it's the practical things that we need to feel safe about. This is the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? Do we have food? Do we have sleep? Do we have good health? If we have those things, then we can handle whatever shows up. But if we're exhausted, our emotions are going to be all over the place. We won't be able to, our perspective is going to be off, right? If we don't have food in our bellies, we're going to get lightheaded. We're going to lose energy. We're also probably going to get moody, If our health is suffering, the only thing we'll be able to focus on is our health. So these are the kind of things that we're going to be looking at and addressing. I'll also bring in the monetary aspect because we're dealing with physical things. In order to have physical things or pay for the healthcare or pay for the food, we need the money to do it, right? So these are the kind of things that we're going to be revisiting. Now, also, we know that with Mercury retrograde, there's all the RE stuff that happens, right? So it might be a revisiting of a conversation that happened months ago. Maybe it happened 6 months ago. Could have happened a day or 2 days ago. Either way, that didn't get resolved, that now we need to resolve it. This is the time to rejuvenate certain things. Also, I'll remind you, it's okay to sign papers. It's okay to make agreements during a Mercury retrograde. just especially if it's stuff from the past, because a lot of things from our past come back to be revisited. So it's a great time to wrap up things as well. It's not an awesome time for new things, launching new business, buying new things, starting new relationships, things like that, unless this is the caveat. If you do those things, get a warranty, ask questions, get a second set of eyes. Also, remember that not everything is as it appears to be during a Mercury retrograde. So in relationship, you may, let's say, meet a new friend or a new lover. Well, there may be things that need time to keep unfolding, especially because we're in Sagittarius season now, looking for truth, right? So it's like, okay, I have to trust that I'm enjoying this connection. I'm enjoying this time with this person, getting to know them, but there's a lot I don't know yet. And so allowing that curiosity to stay there and just having fun with that moment, trusting that there may be a reset down the road as Mercury stations direct, moves forward, all of a sudden new information comes to light. Now, the other thing I just want to point out is that during a Mercury retrograde, there's frustrations that can occur because misinterpretations happen, perceptions of reality can be skewed, but there's also our intuitions at an all-time high. So pay attention to the body, especially, like I say, this is a physical earth sign retrograde. Pay attention to how your body's talking to you. Withdraw if you need to. Take time for yourself if that's what's needed. I know it's hard, especially if you're committing to hosting, a holiday gathering of some sort, or there's the expectations with families, things like that. So I get that. But please, if you can, carve out the time, set those boundaries. A little more difficult to set boundaries when we're trying to people please or we're trying to make everything just right, But Saturn in Pisces and Venus in Scorpio are really good at helping to set boundaries. So use them, communicate them. You may have to repeat yourself a couple of times with Mercury retrograde, right? And keep in mind, we're not mind readers, okay? You need to spell things out. What do you want? What do you need? It's important to take care of you, and then you can be of greater service to others. All right, you guys, I hope this helps. Please like, subscribe, share, comment. Come find me at jamiedawn.com. And I hope that you guys have a great week. Thanks so much.